Welcome back to Half the Battle. I'm your host, as always, Daniel Levy, and today we're going to talk about UFC 320. Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Poatan Pereira, the rematch. And my friends, it's going on this Saturday night live at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. You got the light heavyweight championship on the line. Magomed Ankalaev trying to defend his belt for the first time against the man he took the belt from, Alex Pereira. And also in the co-main event, we got Merab Dvalishvili trying to make UFC history with that third title defense against the always promising Cory Sandhagen. Plus, we got Jiri versus Khalil on the card. So let's not waste any time, my friends. Let's get right down to business. Because in the main event for the light heavyweight championship, we got the champ, Magomed Ankalaev. He's 21-1-1, taking on Alex Poatan Pereira, who's 12-3. Currently, they got it Magomed Ankalaev minus 260. The comeback on Alex Pereira is plus 220. So Magomed's 33, Poatan is 38. Poatan's an inch taller at 6'4", and he's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage at 80 inches of reach. So, man, I want to say hell of a fight for the main event, but I know that the last time these two ran it, it put me to sleep. I know it wasn't the most exciting fight in the world, but I got good news for y'all. When you talk about these title fights, the first one goes the 5-round distance. More often than not, the rematch usually ends inside the distance. I mean, you know how many examples I can give you? Let's talk about Yana versus Wiley. First time was this incredible 5-round war. Second time, Wiley just destroyed her. More recently, let's look at Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Merab. The first time, look, I thought the first time that Merab clearly won, but the margins were thin enough to where O'Malley and his fanboys were able to be like, oh, O'Malley got robbed. Burr, burr, burr. We have to see a rematch. And then the rematch was so decisive that no one's calling for a rematch now. And I can name you examples from back in the day as well. I mean, how about back in the WEC when you saw Benson Henderson and Cowboy Cerrone go 5 rounds, an incredible fight of the night. Then they rematch for the belt and Benson submits him in the first round with a guillotine. So I can give you so many examples. How about Machida and Shogun? First time they fight is this 5-round controversial decision. Everyone thought Shogun won. Second time they fight, Shogun knocks him out in the first round. Now, so historically speaking, the title rematch always plays out differently than the first time. But you know what else history says? History says that most of the time, look, this is not 100% foolproof, but 9 times out of 10, the guy that won the first time is going to win that rematch in the title fight, especially when you're talking about a young champion like Magomed Ankalaev. So off the bat, I understand why he's favored to this extent, because last time it was pretty close. Last time, some people even got plus 100, plus 110 on Magomed Ankalaev, even minus 110. Pick them, right? Now you have to pay the premium. And where are the Poetards at, man? Let me get 100,000 of you Poetards to lay this plus 220 so I can get reasonable odds on Magomed Ankalaev. But look, as far as how they match up, I think the adjustments that Alex Pereira has to make is you cannot be chasing a guy like Magomed Ankalaev. You have to cut off the cage, and he has to find a home for that big left hook. The reason why I think it's going to be tough for him to start chopping Magomed down with calf kicks, which Alex is known for doing to a lot of people, is that Magomed's a southpaw, man. Chopping down the lead leg of a southpaw is not the easiest thing to do. So I just feel like a lot of his setups for that left hook are just simply not going to be there. And his game is just going to be nullified. Like Magomed Ankalaev is so good at dragging guys into the Ankalaev verse. And that's exactly what he did to Pereira the first time. Kind of had him mesmerized in there. But this time, according to history, I think this time Magomed has a chance to look even better. Now he's the champ. Everyone, you know how they say, once you get that belt, you level up 30% for your next fight. I think we're going to see the best version of Magomed Ankalaev. And with Pereira, I got to tip my cap to him, man. I'm not wearing a cap, but we can grab a cap. We can tip our cap to Alex Poatan Pereira because, listen, man, you come into the UFC and you win 2 belts in 2 separate weight classes. And he was a specialist, man. He comes into the UFC with a kickboxing background and makes it to 2 undisputed belts in 2 weight classes. Hey, man, that's history right there. And I believe, don't quote me on it, but I believe Pereira was the fastest to ever win 2 belts. I mean, like, he did it less than 10 fights into his UFC career. So crazy, man, what this guy's accomplished. And you can put Pereira in the Hall of Fame for that. And that left hook will always be legendary, whether we're talking about the glory days or the UFC days. So Pereira's a legend, man. And what he's accomplished cannot be scoffed at. but right now it's simply Magomed Ankalaev's time. And if Ankalaev wants to stand up with Pereira like he did last time, look, last time he attempted 12 takedowns, they all got stuffed. And he just showed that, look, you stuff my takedowns, I can beat you standing too, you know? Magomed isn't the flashiest guy in the world. There's a reason that it took him so long to get that title shot, because he's just not that exciting of a fighter, but he's damn good. He's solid. He's well-rounded. He's technical. He's got the fundamentals down, and that's enough for this guy to be a world champion. And to me, it just comes down to the history of this situation. Dude, when you've been watching the sport as long as I have, history repeats itself. And I think Saturday night, live at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, Magomed Ankalaev is going to come out here and still be the UFC light heavyweight champion. Co-main event of the evening for the undisputed bantamweight title. We got the champ Merab Dvalishvili. He's 20-4, taking on the challenger Cory Sandhagen, who is 18-5. Currently, they got it Merab -400. The comeback on Cory Sandhagen is +300. Merab's 34, Cory's 33. Cory's going to have a significant height advantage at 5'11", but only a 2-inch reach advantage at 70 inches of reach. So, man, Cory Sandhagen finally got that title shot. It's been a long time coming. I mean, I remember when this guy first came into the UFC and we were calling this guy the output king, and he was really mesmerizing people with his performances. I mean, the adversity he overcame against Yuri Alcantara to get that finish, the war he had with John Lineker, where they were just standing and banging in the pocket for 3 straight rounds, and he ate John Lineker's best shots. We were like, damn, this dude's got a chin. And we thought, I mean, do you remember when he finished Mario Bautista in the first round? Like, yo, Sandhagen, when he first came to the UFC, it seemed like he's going to go straight to the top. He even beat Rafael Assunção back when that was a big deal. So Cory Sandhagen really made an impression when he first jumped onto the scene. With Merab, it was actually kind of opposite. He came into the UFC. He goes 0-2. He loses as a -500 favorite to Frankie Saenz. And then his very next fight, he gets finished by Ricky Simon. So it wasn't the best start, but ever since then, this guy's been untouchable. Now, I say that. I know he's had some sketchy moments in fights where, you know, like, for example, the Marlon Moraes fight where he got dropped early, but I'm saying he's been on a massive win streak, has defended the belt, you know, handed Umar Nurmagomedov his first L, destroyed Sean O'Malley to the point where Sean O'Malley's talking about retirement. And I got to give a shout out to Magic on Twitter, because he tweeted out after O'Malley's first title loss that O'Malley will never win a UFC fight again. And look, I thought it was a bold prediction, but after O'Malley lost the rematch to Merab, now O'Malley's talking about retirement. I'm like, oh my God, Magic was onto something too. So shout out to him for that mystic prediction, because I think it might actually come true. But as far as how these two match up, listen, with Merab, you know what you got to deal with? You got to deal with the most weaponized cardio in the history of the sport. I mean, this guy does things that other men simply can't do. Pull up that Peter Yan fight, man. I mean, like, when you attempt 50 takedowns, like, dude, when you attempt 10 takedowns, that's a lot, but 50 takedowns? Like, he doesn't have to get them all. Like, he wants you to get discouraged. Like, why is this guy still coming forward? I've stopped all his takedowns. Why is he still pressing forward and still trying to take me down? Now I'm fatigued. Now this guy's on top of me. Now I don't know what to do. Now I'm gassed out. You know, so Merab's process and Merab's game is truly unbelievable. You're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to finish this guy. You're going to have to starch this guy, because if you try to have a tit for tat battle, if you try to out cardio or out point Merab, good luck with that. Now, I know that not every Merab fight has been as dominant, you know, as, say, his last fight against O'Malley or the Peter Yan fight. Like, for example, the first O'Malley fight, now, I thought it was pretty dominant, but it was to the point where you had the O'Malley fanboys being like, O'Malley got robbed, which, like, if you actually said that, you know, you don't know anything about fighting. But, you know, it was still close enough to where they gave us a rematch, right? And the rematch, Merab just showed a difference in level to the point where it was like, dude, this guy might be on the trajectory to being one of the all-time greats. Now, if he wins this fight here against Cory, he ties the record for most title defenses in UFC history. I'm saying at bantamweight. I'm not saying all time. I'm saying I'm not saying in, you know, in all divisions. I'm just saying at bantamweight. But I do have to kind of preface that by saying Aljamain currently holds that record, but, like, does any real UFC fan honor Aljamain's title run? I mean, he won the belt via DQ. Like, when you get knocked out and they call you the champion. Like, to me, that was just big time bullshit. That was number one bullshit, to quote Khabib. And then you look at Aljamain's title defenses. His only dominant title defense was against the ghost of TJ Dillashaw, who had one arm and retired that same fight. So when you call Aljamain the most dominant champion in bantamweight history, to me, as a longtime fan of the sport, that's a disgrace. That's disrespectful to Dominic Cruz and even TJ Dillashaw, like the real actual bantamweight goats, you know? And I just won't accept that kind of rhetoric, you know, being that I actually know the history of the sport. But Merab, on the other hand, if he gets this win here over Sandhagen, then he really is in the running for being the greatest bantamweight of all time. Now, here's my thing with Sandhagen. I think he's extremely talented, man. He's so good. He's well-rounded. The volume's incredible. He used to be so creative, but I feel like he's changed his style a lot. He's become so risk-averse. This guy used to really take big chances and try things that other guys won't try, but now he's playing it safe, and I just don't like the new style of Cory Sandhagen. Like, if you watch that Rob Font fight, I mean, to this day, you know, I feel bad for my brothers and sisters in Nashville that had to pay for that absolutely disgusting main event. You can give me all the injury excuses you want, dude. How many fighters have we seen go out there, fight injured, and put on shows? But for Cory Sandhagen, you'll give him an excuse against, you know, the corpse of Rob Font, putting literally everybody to sleep and wasting everyone's time and money. And this guy's on a 1-fight win streak, and he's getting a title fight against arguably the most dominant bantamweight that's ever lived. Here's the bottom line. I respect Cory Sandhagen, but Cory Sandhagen chokes in big fights. And I don't think that's going to be any different Saturday night. I think Cory Sandhagen is going to play second fiddle to the most dominant bantamweight we've ever seen. And it's unfortunate because the talent's there, the potential's there, the skills are there. Like, Cory's a great fighter. He just simply chokes in big fights. And I think that's going to continue Saturday night. And I think Merab is going to make a statement against Cory Sandhagen and keep reaching new heights, breaking barriers, records, and establishing himself as one of the most dominant bantamweight champions we've ever seen. I'm going Merab Dvalishvili, and still. Featured bout in the light heavyweight division, we got the former champ Jiri Prochazka. He's 31-5, taking on Khalil Rountree, who's 14-6. Currently, they got it Jiri Prochazka -170. The comeback on Khalil Rountree is +145. Jiri's 32. Khalil's 35. I'm actually surprised about that. Yuri's 2 inches taller at 6'3", and he's also going to have a 3.5-inch reach advantage at 80 inches of reach. So on paper, this should be absolute guaranteed violence. Hopefully someone hits the deck, because when these two fight at their best, I mean, it's truly beautiful to watch. With Rountree, I say at his best, because I know he's had some hit or miss performances, but at his best, like that Eric Anders fight, or even that Anthony Smith fight, I mean, this guy's just scary, man. He swings big, kicks hard. When he went to Thailand, really changed his style a bit, and he's just become a physical force in the light heavyweight division. Someone that is capable of some of the most scariest knockouts you've ever seen, like that Modestas Bukauskas knockout, the Carl Roberson knockout where he beat him like he stole something. Like, dude, when Khalil Rountree hurts you, oh my God, like, it's one of the most devastating sights you've ever seen in all your years watching the sport. Now, on the other side with Jiri Prochazka, man, he's different, he's unique, he's unorthodox, but when he starts to find that flow state, my God, the creativity, the violence, and he just brings something different to the table. The guy's like a samurai, man, and I truly, truly love watching him fight. I also like the fact that he's not complacent with the, you know, with the fact that he won the belt. He's improving. He's getting better every single fight. We used to criticize him for the hands down, lack of head movement, and you saw in that last fight, he's my boy's moving his head now, and some of those counters were absolutely disgusting, man. And here's my thing. I think in the early going, while Jiri Prochazka is kind of finding his range, finding his timing, of course, Khalil Rountree can get off on big kicks. Of course, Khalil Rountree can get off on some big punches upstairs. I definitely think that Khalil Rountree is going to counter Jiri with some stuff that possibly compromises Jiri a little bit in the early going. But the thing about it is, if Jiri can start to tap into that dark place that he likes to go to, like in that second round, like not even the second round, the end of the first round against Alexander Rakic, the end of the first round against Volkan Oezdemir, like, dude, when he starts to find his timing and his range, he's like a perfect storm that you just want to get out of the way of, man. And I've seen Khalil be pressured and fold when people start to really put it on him, man. So yeah, I think Khalil can win by early knockout because Jiri Prochazka is open. He is vulnerable. And with his style, he likes to eat a couple punches to get in your head. Sometimes, like you'll see in that fight against Volkan Ozdemir, he ate a jab and then he starts literally taking his forehead and moving it into the jab to let him know, like, bro, hit me with your best shot. I ain't worried about you. And sometimes when he gets rocked, he's like, oh, fuck, I didn't mean to get rocked there. All right, bring it. You know, like Jiri is a madman and you have to put him out to beat him. You're not going to go out there and stall this guy out. You're not going to just leg kick him and run away. And I felt like Rountree's last fight against Hill, which, listen, neither guy fought a prime Hill. Both guys fought Hill post Achilles rupture, so they didn't get the real version of Hill. But look at the difference on how Jiri treated the ghost of Hill compared to how Rountree did. That Rountree performance, I'm not going to cap, man. Like, you saw that Hill clearly, you know, it doesn't look like himself for a very long time. He looked awful in that Rountree fight. And Rountree's performance was suspect as fuck, man. Like, I was like, dude, like, you have a corpse in front of you. Like, go feast on the carcass, kid. Nope. Like, runs away and kicks the whole time. Running away and kicking is not going to work against Jiri Prochazka. Eventually, he's going to pick up on your rhythms, pick up on your timing. He's going to start to walk you down, cut off the cage, make it super small for you. And once Jiri gets into that flow state, the tornado starts rolling. Once that momentum starts going for Jiri, it's over with for Rountree. So I think that Yuri's going to come out here and get a second or third round knockout against Khalil Rountree. Next up in the featherweight division, we got a matchup between Josh Emmett, he's 19-5, taking on Yousef Zalal, who's 17-5-1. Currently, they got at Yousef Zalal minus 500. The comeback on Josh Emmett is plus 375. So Yousef's minus 500, but Josh Emmett's 40. So two numbers I don't like. Zalal's 29. Zalal's 4 inches taller at 5'10", and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage at 72 inches of reach. So, man, shout out Yousef Zalal. I'm not going to call it a career resurgence because the guy's young, but what I will say is his maturation and what he's evolving into. You love to see it. You're a top 15 guy now, kid. I remember when he got cut in his first UFC stint, and now he's out here in the top 15. So, great job, Yousef Zalal. You know, he's got a bit of a point fighting style. He can hit, he can run, he can mix in takedowns. Don't sleep on his submission game either. His kicks are on point. So there's really a lot to like about Zalal. Very, very smart, educated fighter. So I think he's got a very bright future. The only issue I kind of have is he's minus 500 here against the hardest hitter in UFC featherweight history. Look, I know that Josh Emmett is 40 years old. I know, guys. However, Josh Emmett hits so hard that not only did he set the record for the most knockdowns in UFC featherweight history, but he literally rewired Bryce Mitchell's brain. I mean, Josh Emmett hits so hard that he took Bryce Mitchell from dumb to dumber. So you can never count out a guy like Josh Emmett, especially at a number like this, because when you think about Zalal's game plan here, you're going to be mixing in takedowns against a short, stocky dude with a wrestling background. Highly doubt it. So you're going to have to hit and run against him, which I'm not saying it can't happen. I mean, dudes have picked apart Emmett before. Lerone Murphy did it recently. But don't forget that Josh Emmett won a round or two on a couple of the judges' scorecards. So, like, even though Emmett's 40 years old, he can still compete at the highest level, man. I feel like Lerone Murphy is about to probably fight for a title, guys. So do not sleep on Josh Emmett. Listen, sure, as a pure pick, I'll pick the guy that's 11 years younger, that is trending in the right direction, has the momentum. But if we're talking betting, you do not parlay Yousef Zalal at minus 500 here. He has zero danger factor. Like, dude, he lost a round to the ghost of Calvin Kattar, man. Like, again, I thought he clearly won that fight, but I'm not trying to pay minus 500 for performances like that. So you either take a 1-unit shot or a half-unit shot on Emmett, or you pass altogether on this fight. Because, yeah, Emmett's slowing down. Yeah, Emmett's 40, but Emmett can still compete. Emmett's so dangerous. Power is the last thing to go, my friends. So, yeah, and running away makes you tired. So, yeah, I think Zalal banks 2 of the rounds, probably gets this decision, but please do not parlay him at minus 500, my friends. This is a dogger pass situation if I've ever seen one, at least before the fact. Next up in the middleweight division, we got a matchup between Joe Pyfer, he's 14-3, taking on Abus Magomedov, who's 28-6-1. Currently, they got a Joe Pyfer minus 255. The comeback on Abus is plus 215. Abus is 35, Pyfer is 29. Both men are 6'2", and Abus is going to have a 3-inch reach advantage at 75 inches of reach. So this one is interesting just because also the price, man, it's a wide price. And it's like, yeah, I might favor Joe Pyfer a little bit, but do I favor him to this extent, right? Like Pyfer, very, very heavy hitter, but I do have questions about when fights get extended. Not only the Hermansson fight. See, the Hermansson fight, we could write that off to, listen, it was first L time, no big deal. I mean, not first official L time, because I know he lost to Stoltzfus on Contender Series, but I'm saying first UFC L time. But the thing is, you notice in that recent fight against Gastelum that he also slowed down badly after the first round. But luckily for him, he's got a bit of a gasser on the other side in Abus Magomedov. I mean, that Sean Strickland fight will forever be a really bad look, but you could also say, hey, first L time, he pulled a stunt. It is what it is. But in the Caio fight, he slowed down badly too. Now, I know Caio and Strickland at the time, 2 top 5 guys, so you don't want to criticize them too badly, but like, man, even in that fight against Bruno Pereira, man, Bruno was so close to finishing the fight against Abus. So it's one of these things where I think Pyfer should be favored. I think Pyfer is the heavier hitter, but like Pyfer's still developing and Abus is a skilled guy. So it's not gonna surprise me if Pyfer does some kind of dumb mistake here and Abus is skilled and experienced enough to capitalize. But I think that the raw power of Pyfer is enough to make Abus a little bit gun shy, and Abus isn't known for pushing the biggest pace anyways, man. Like, he's not known for fighting at some kind of relentless pace that's going to gas someone out like Pyfer. That's what we need. We need someone relentless with Pyfer, someone super durable that can take his best shot, keep pushing forward. Dude, if we had Fluffy Hernandez against Pyfer, oh my God, that'd be like a dream come true. But I don't really trust Abus that much. But again, do you have to trust him that much at plus 215 odds? Probably not. So I'm not going to talk you off the dog shot. I'm going to just take the favorite, but as a pure pick, but not too much confidence on my end here, because I think that Joe Pyfer is still developing and I think that Abus is untrustworthy. So to me, hopefully it's an exciting fight and hopefully someone hits the deck here. If you're looking to bet on UFC 320 or NFL, then listen up. My friends at Bet105 got a special offer for you. So look, for all point spreads for NFL, they're charging minus 103 odds. Tell me where else you can get that price on NFL point spreads. And minus 110 for all player props. Come on, son. Also, my friends, we talk about this all the time. Split decision insurance. We're back in Vegas. So you know Adelaide Bird's going to be there. You know all these incompetent judges that have literally no idea what they're watching are going to be in attendance. So with split decision insurance, if you bet on a fighter and he wins by split decision, all good. You win your bet. No big deal. But your fighter loses by split decision. I don't care if it's controversial, if it's justified, doesn't matter. Your fighter loses by split decision and you're getting 25% of your money back at Bet105. So, my friends, go to bet105.ag, use my promo code HalfTheBattle, deposit $100 and get a $50 free bet at Bet105 using my promo code HalfTheBattle. Now let's get back to the show. Now, next up in the middleweight division, we got a matchup between Ateba Gautier. He's 8-1, welcoming Treston Vines, who's 10-3 to the UFC. There's no odds yet, but it should be Ateba Gautier minus 1,500, minus 1,800, minus 2,200. He should be a massive favorite in this spot. Ateba Gautier is 23. Treston Vines is 29. Ateba Gautier is 4 inches taller at 6'4". He's got an 81-inch reach. I'm not sure what Vines reaches, but I would assume it's somewhere between 75 to 78 inches. So, yeah, man, this is a mismatch. But I actually know exactly who Treston Vines is because I saw him fight a buddy of mine in the NFC named Robert Hale. Now, my boy Robert Hale was coming off the couch up a weight class, took it at 85s. Robert's a 170-pounder. And when I tell you that Robert was giving Treston Vines a tour of the octagon, I mean, he literally couldn't miss his punches. He was rocking this dude all over the place. But unfortunately for Rob, and props to Treston Vines, he weathered a ridiculous storm and he found his way to Robert Hale's back and was able to get a rear naked choke tap out after absorbing a hellacious beating. Now, the thing about that is, shout out to my boy Robert Hale, good friend of mine, love that dude, but that's a 170-pounder and actually a former 55er. Ateba Gautier, you want this guy to make 70, you better cut his leg off. You want him to make 55s, you better cut his torso off. You know what I'm saying, man? Ateba Gautier is just one of the scariest prospects currently in the middleweight division. A lot of people say that he reminds them of Ngannou. I mean, Treston Vine's chance to win here is some kind of opportunistic submission, which I just don't see happening. I think that Gautier is going to come out here and it's going to be like an Ngannou versus Overeem type knockout where if you're in attendance at UFC 320 in Las Vegas, Nevada at the T-Mobile Arena, I highly recommend you bring your baseball glove so that when Gautier punts Vine's head into the fifth row, you can catch it like a foul ball. So I'm going Ateba Gautier to come out here and make the kind of statement where it doesn't matter that this guy's a minus 2,500 favorite. He's still going to get the 50K performance of the night bonus for this devastating knockout. Next up in the middleweight division, we got a matchup between Edmen Shahbazyan, he's 15-5, taking on Andre Muniz, who's 24-7. Currently, they got it Edmen Shahbazyan minus 300. The comeback on Andre Muniz is plus 250. Shahbazyan's 27. Muniz is 35. Shahbazyan's an inch taller at 6'2". But it's Muniz who's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage at 78 inches of reach. So this is another one where I'm kind of like, are we sure we want to trust Edmen Shahbazyan at minus 300 odds against a serious grappler? I mean, like, I know Muniz is old. I know Muniz has seen better days, but Muniz, I mean, it's going to take Shahbazyan like 50 years to even get close to the black belt that Muniz is. And not to mention, how many stunts have y'all seen Edmen Shahbazyan pull over the years, whether we're talking about against Darren Stewart in that third round where he was hanging on for dear life, the GM3 fight most recently. Y'all think that because he beat Dylan Budka and Andre Bumtrosky that all of a sudden Shahbazyan is this brand new man, that he's matured? I'm not buying it. I don't buy it one bit. I mean, I think that Shahbazyan is just as dangerous as he's ever been. Of course, we know that he's always been a dangerous guy, but what happens when you push Shahbazyan? What happens when you get on top of Shahbazyan? He quits every single time. Issue here is that my boy Muniz has definitely seen better days, but to give him some credit to the guys he's been losing to, Brendan Allen, an infinitely better grappler than Edmen Shahbazyan. Paul Craig, infinitely better grappler than, Edmen. Ikram Aliskerov can actually stop takedowns, unlike this man, Edmen Shahbazyan. Like, Ikram has 100% takedown defense. Edmen has less than 70% takedown defense. Like, guys, I'm not saying that Shahbazyan is not going to just come out here and crack the chin of Muniz. I'm just saying that there's no way in hell I can parlay someone like Edmen Shahbazyan at minus 300. Guys, I laid I think it was minus 150 to minus 170, maybe even minus 185, whatever it was on Edmen against Petrosky in Atlanta. I laid it straight, and people say that was a solid performance. What? Yeah, he clearly won the fight, but when you're dog walking someone to that extent and it's at such a low pace, it's like, bro, he's giving you every opportunity to go ahead and finish the deal. Then you see how easily a newcomer like Cam Ralston handles Petrosky. You see these other fights where Petrosky goes head first in the dude's hips and gets finished, but Shahbazyan, who's got a reputation for being a dangerous finisher, can't get Petrosky out of there. Man, I have to talk in these terms when we're dealing with his minus 300. Yeah, I get the logic behind Shahbazyan being a favorite here. Muniz has not looked the best, but I mean, let's put it like this. Muniz took down the Iron Turtle 11 times. You took him down 11 times one fight ago. Now, I didn't think Muniz won that fight. I actually thought the Iron Turtle low-key got robbed. But, if you can take down the Iron Turtle 11 times and, Edmen's nowhere near as tough as the Iron Turtle, what happens if he takes down Edmen one time, man? Listen, again, I understand why Edmen's favored, but fuck it. I'm going to be bold here, man. I'm going to pick Andre Muniz to come out here. And if he does not get knocked out, which he might, I think he's going to come out here and remind everyone that Edmen Shahbazyan has not turned a corner, that Edmen Shahbazyan is still a front runner, still a flake, still has massive issues on the mat. And I'm going to boldly predict Andre Muniz to come out here and tap out Edmen Shahbazyan for the big upset. Next up in the bantamweight division, we got a matchup between Farid Basharat, he's 13-0, taking on Chris Gutierrez, who's 22-5-2. Currently, they got at Farid Basharat minus 450. The comeback on Chris Gutierrez is plus 350. So Farid is 28, Chris is 34. Chris is an inch taller at 5'9", but it's Farid that's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage at 71 inches of reach. So I'm happy for Farid Basharat that he's getting the Chris Gutierrez test. I mean, Chris Gutierrez is a well-established UFC vet. He's got some of the best low kicks in the bantamweight division, and you absolutely have to be on a certain level to beat a guy like Chris Gutierrez. So I'm really happy that they're testing out Farid Basharat like this. Now, this is Farid, not Javid. This is the good Basharat brother. Not that Javid ain't good, but I'm saying, like, I actually think Farid has like top 15 potential, whereas Javid, I think he's just okay. But Farid, I am incredibly impressed with Farid Basharat. I mean, we talk about the weaponized cardio. Well, this guy brings that and then some. I mean, you're talking about a guy in Farid Basharat in his second to last fight against Taylor Lapilus. This dude, Farid Basharat, literally attempted 16 takedowns. Like, dude, he only got 5 of them, but when you attempt 16 takedowns, that tells me about your weaponized pace. That tells me about your cardio. That tells me about your intentions. And most importantly, that tells me how tough you are to deal with. Then you rewind to, Farid's Contender Series fight, and he lands over 100 significant strikes in that fight. So when you can attempt 16 takedowns in 3 rounds and land over 100 significant strikes, like, dude, you are just a matchup problem. You're just a tough dude to deal with. And then you think about, well, that must have been against a striker. Lapalus is a striker. How does he do against other grapplers? Not that that matters here, because Gutierrez is a striker. Let's just gas up Farid for how dominant he is. Dude, he fought Damon Blackshear, who's a serious grappler, and Farid's out there attempting 6 takedown attempts on Damon Blackshear. Not only that, he survives a serious triangle choke attempt against Blackshear, which, like, lesser men for sure would have tapped out in that spot. I like everything about Farid Basharat. And the thing about this matchup is, look, if you want to go kick for kick with Chris Gutierrez, you want to have a low output match where Chris Gutierrez is running away and, you want to be pretty and point fight with him, okay, then Chris is a live dog. But if Farid Basharat cuts off that cage, do not follow Chris Gutierrez. Do not chase Chris Gutierrez. Cut off that cage. Make the octagon feel small. Make it to where you can't run away anymore. Get into punching range. Get into grappling range. Then not only do I think Farid Basharat is going to win this fight, but I think he's going to make a statement. Like, I'm not saying first round KO or anything, because that's not Farid's style, but I'm saying, like, take this guy down and maul him. Maybe he gets back up, rinse and repeat, take him back down, and put a beating on him. Like maybe a Habib style beating on Chris Gutierrez. So I think Farid Basharat is going to come out here at UFC 320, open a lot of eyes about his potential in the bantamweight division. And I think people are going to be talking about this guy as a future top 15 guy. So for that reason, I'm picking Farid Basharat to come out here and have the kind of performance that's going to make people very excited for his next fight. Next up in the featherweight division, we got a matchup between Daniel Willycat Santos. He's 12-2, taking on Ju-Sang Yu, who's 9-0. Currently, they got it. Daniel Willycat Santos -140. The comeback on Ju-Sang Yu is +120. So Willycat is 32. Ju-Sang Yu is 31. Both men 5'7", but Ju-Sang Yu is going to have a 4-inch reach advantage at 71 inches of reach. But I'm going to debate both of these, man. Not both. The reach is right, but I'm going to debate that height. I think that Ju-Sang Yu is probably the taller man in the spot. He looks significantly bigger than Daniel Willycat Santos. But, man, there's been a common theme on this card, and it's continuing here with Mr. Willycat, and that is the weaponized pace and cardio. Now, with Santos, on paper, it's a little bit different because you think of him as like a shoot-the-box striker. But let's examine the numbers of his last fight against Zhang Young Lee. So not only does Daniel Willycat Santos attempt over 200 total strikes, he also attempts 18 takedowns. He lands 119 total strikes. He lands 6 of 18 takedowns. Dude, when you're fighting at a pace like that, your opponent better pray that they can get an early finish, because if they can't, you're just going to drown them. That's just the bottom line. And this kid, Ju-Sang Yu, I got to admit, he's super talented. I love watching this guy fight. He could even possibly, I don't know yet, we're still on the fence about it. He could possibly be the Korean Malcolm Wellmaker. I'm not sure yet, though. If he starches Willycat Santos, then I'm all aboard. But the thing about it is, man, Daniel Willycat Santos is a durable dude. Like you saw even in that John Castaneda fight, man, like he was eating head kicks and getting dropped, and he just keeps getting up and walking forward, and his pace is too much to deal with. And then he starts ripping to the body, and he starts mixing in takedown attempts. Like, it's one thing to be well conditioned to last the 3 rounds. It's another thing to be able to respond while your body is just, like, you're shutting down when you're fighting a guy like him. So I love this kid, Ju-Sang Yu, but it's like, knocking out Jekka Seregi in 28 seconds, which beautiful KO. And the fight before that, and his regional fight where he was looking like the Korean Sean O'Malley, like, dude, I love it, man. Like, I think this guy's a legit prospect, but knocking out a couple bums in a span of a few seconds does not tell me anything about a weaponized cardio and how you deal with someone like Daniel Santos' pace. Because let me tell you this right now, if there's any question at all about your conditioning, about can you go 3 rounds hard, about, if this guy eats your best shot and he keeps walking forward, are you going to be discouraged? Like, if there's any questions about that, then you're going to need your floaties, because Daniel Willycat Santos is going to take you to the depths of the ocean and drown you. So yeah, Ju Sang Yu has got a chance early, just like he does in any fight. He hits super hard. But the fights I watched where he went the distance, look, great performances, man, but the pace difference is just night and day. So if he can get past this, then we might be looking at a legitimately serious prospect. But he's got to prove it to me first, man. And you don't just combat the weaponized cardio of Daniel Willycat Santos unless you're on a certain level, and Ju Sang Yu needs to prove to me that he's on that level. So I'm gonna go with Daniel Willycat Santos to do Daniel Willycat Santos things to Ju Sang Yu, hand him his first L, and I think Ju Sang Yu will be back better as a result. Next up in the bantamweight division, we got a matchup between Macy Chiasson. She's 11-4, taking on Yana Santos, who's 16-8 currently. They got it. Macy Chiasson -200. The comeback on Yana Kunitskaya Santos is +170. So Yana's 35, Macy's 34. Macy's way taller at 5'11", and she also has a slight reach advantage at 72 inches of reach. Listen, man, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm excited about this fight when I'm not. No offense to either of them. I respect them both. I just simply don't like watching either of them fight, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I watched tape on this, because I didn't. And yeah, I'm just not going to lie to you guys. I mean, I think Santos is okay, decent judo throws, former Invicta champ, but she's kind of old now. She quits in fights, but Chiasson also a bit of a quitter too. Chiasson just slightly younger, only a year younger, but a lot more physical. If Chiasson can get on top, I don't see Santos getting back up. I don't like or trust either of these fighters, but I'll pick Chiasson for the win. Next up in the bantamweight division, we got a matchup between Patchy Mix, he's 20-2, welcoming Jakub Willycat, who's 16-3-2 to the UFC currently. They got it. Patchy Mix -275. The comeback on Jakub is +235. Patchy's 32. Jakub is 29. Patchy is 2 inches taller at 5'11", but it's Jakub who's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage at 73 inches of reach. So, hey, I apologize to all my Polish fans. When I was watching Jakub's footage, I didn't have the commentary on, so I don't even know what his last name is. So sorry for butchering it, but I know his fighting style and his skills, man. He's a decent grappler, and he's kind of like a poor man's Patchy Mix, which is crazy to say, because like Patchy came into the UFC with a lot of hype, and people were like saying insane shit about this guy, saying that he's the best bantamweight in the world, just hasn't gone to the UFC yet. Then they put him in there with Mario Bautista, who's not even a top 5 guy. And Mario Bautista gave Patchy Mix a tour of the octagon. And if you want to keep it a buck, Patchy Mix definitely lost that second Magomedov fight too. So as far as I'm concerned, this guy's on a skid. But that being said, Patchy Mix is no longer fighting a top 10 UFC fighter. He's not making his debut with all that pressure, saying all the dumb shit he said, like that I'd submit Mario Bautista and his whole team. Like, dude, I'm just not a fan of Patchy Mix or Tatiana. I've met them in person, not nice people, but you got to respect the skills of Mix on the mat. Very opportunistic with his submissions, nasty guillotine choke, and scramble his ass off. His striking sucks, but the thing is, on the other side, Jakub's also a grappler. He's decent, but he's just like a step below Mix, and his striking. I was thinking like, hey, this guy's got a grappling background. Maybe his striking's good. You keep this fight standing, wrestle in reverse. You can beat Patchy Mix. The blueprint's been laid out on how to beat Patchy Mix. But then I see this dude Jakub pulling guard in fights. His stand-up's awful. Like, man, like I expected this dude to be a lot better considering his record. He's fought like this one dude like 5 times. Like, it's like, bro, I think that I'd love to fade Patchy Mix at this price because I think Patchy Mix is a fraud when you're talking about top 15. But I think that Jakub is a fraud when you're talking about top 50. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Patchy Mix is actually going to get his first UFC win here. It's like you got two grapplers, but Patchy Mix is the better grappler. Neither guy can strike, but Patchy Mix a little bit more high-level experience. I think that'll carry him through. And there's not much of a threat on the other side. It's like if Patchy can't get his takedowns, it's not like, oh, you know, Jakub's got such big one-hitter quitter power. Oh, Jakub's got such good calf kicks or whatever, or a big threat of a knee. Or it's like, Mix, this is your chance to come out here and prove all your butt buddies right that maybe you are a talent. Now, I don't think so personally, but I think you're better than this guy. And I think Patchy Mix is going to come out here, get his first UFC win, and hand Jakub his first UFC L. Next up in the welterweight division, we got a matchup between Punahele Soriano. He's 11-4, taking on Nikolai Veretetnikov, who's 13-6. Currently, they got it Punahele Soriano minus 280. The comeback on Nikolai Veretetnikov is plus 240. Nikolai's 35, Puna's 32. Nikolai is 2 inches taller at 6'1", and he's going to have a 1.5-inch reach advantage at 74 inches of reach. I got a question for y'all. Did any of y'all think that Nikolai low-key lost that Francisco Prado fight too? I was kind of very shocked that he got his arm raised in that spot, man. But shout out to him. He got his first UFC win, so I'm happy for the jobber. But listen, Punahele Soriano, I'm super, stoked for him that he dropped to 170 pounds. I think that's the best move that he's made because he's an athletic guy. He's actually a D3 national champ wrestler, man. You don't see it that often, but the guy can wrestle a little bit. But what he's really known for, he's kind of got that Hawaiian Vitor style. He's a southpaw with a devastating left hand, and man, when he hits guys, they tend to go down. Now with Veretetnikov, he's experienced and he's tough, but he's kind of on the slower, unathletic side. And when your main attribute is your toughness, you guys know what that means. That means that this guy's hittable. This guy's known for taking an ass whooping. And I think Saturday night, he's probably going to take an ass whooping. Like, look, I know that Punahele Soriano has had his cardio issues in the past, but I think dropping those 15 pounds to 170 is probably the best move he's ever done. And he's locked in, he's experienced, he's paid dues. And simply put, I just think he's faster, more athletic, more powerful, and just a better fighter than Nikolai Veretetnikov. So, yeah, minus 280 is a little rich for my liking, but as a pure pick, I'm going to take Punahele Soriano to come out here and defeat Nikolai Veretetnikov. Next up in the welterweight division, we got a matchup between Ramiz Brahimaj, he's 12-5, taking on Austin Vanderford, who's 13-2. Currently, they got it Austin Vanderford minus 300. The comeback on Ramiz Brahimaj is plus 250. Vanderford's 35. Ramiz is 32. Vanderford's an inch taller at 5'11", and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage at 74 inches of reach. So this is another interesting matchup because the thing you got to understand about this kid, Ramiz, is that he's been in the UFC since 2020. And he's literally had to pay dues under the magnifying glass, man. Like, that's just the bottom line. So you've seen the ups, you've seen the downs, and now he's finally starting to get some momentum, and his hard work is really starting to pay off. So you love to see it. But one thing you got to know about Ramiz is he's got 12 wins. 11 of those wins are in the first round. So more often than not, when he goes past round one, he tends to lose. But luckily for him, Vanderford has been finished in the first round before. So, he's got a vulnerable opponent early, but the thing about it is the vulnerabilities switch as the fight progresses. And if Vanderford can just skirt on the outside in the early going, don't let Ramiz clip you big. Don't let Ramiz get on top of you because Ramiz hits hard and he's opportunistic with his jiu-jitsu too. But he's one of these guys where he's going to go all out for that first round finish. And if he doesn't get it, his volume significantly wanes. His spirit kind of drops a little bit. And there's been fights with absolutely pathetic numbers from Ramiz Brahimaj. I mean, that fight against Themba Gorimbo went a full 15 minutes, and he landed a total of 3 significant strikes. That is fucking bad, my friends. Now, Vanderford on the other side, look, I know he's 35. I know he's kind of getting up there, but he's got to be motivated that he finally made to the UFC. This is a guy that's been paying his dues in Bellator. I actually sponsored Austin Vanderford back in the day. Really, really nice guy. This was like a long ass time ago, man. So it's cool to see him in the UFC. So to me, the dynamic is exactly what I said. You have to be on your P's and Q's early with Ramiz because he is a dangerous first round finisher. But if Vanderford can get this past the first round, start to wear on the guy, start to mix in some takedowns, start to push his gas tank a bit, then Vanderford should take over late and either win a decision or get a late stoppage. So I'm going to go Austin Vanderford to get his second UFC win. Next up in the flyweight division, we got a matchup between Veronica Hardy. She's 9-5-1, taking on Brogan Walker, who's 7-4. Currently, they got it Veronica Hardy minus 800. The comeback on Brogan Walker's plus 575. Veronica is 29. Brogan is 36. Both are 5'4". Brogan's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage at 67 inches of reach. Minus 800. My God, for Veronica Hardy. I love Veronica Hardy. Super cool chick. Met her in person. I'm a fan of hers, but minus 800. My God. But when you think about it, why she's minus 800, it's because, I mean, she's fighting probably the worst fighter on the roster. I mean, you're talking about someone in Brogan Walker who has a negative strike ratio, has 30% accuracy with her striking, has 11% takedown defense, has less than 50% strike defense. Like literally some of the worst numbers you've ever seen in all your years watching the sport. And while Veronica is not free of flaw, Veronica's a talented martial artist. Veronica's got nasty kicks. Like I love that fight she had against Juliana Miller, where Juliana Miller is like twice as tall as her, and Veronica was getting those head kicks up high. And also, Veronica's got some stuff on the mat. I know y'all remember that fight that she had against Polyana Viana where she submitted her in the first round. So like I've actually seen some things from Veronica Hardy. She's actually a real fighter. No disrespect to Brogan, but Brogan, I'm not even convinced she can challenge for an Invicta belt, let alone an NFC belt, let alone win a single UFC fight. So no disrespect whatsoever. And I hate this price with all my might. But I'm gonna go Veronica Hardy to win this fight. Now we gotta talk about the fight to watch and the fighter to watch. So my friends, what is the fight to watch at UFC 320? I think that the fight to watch at UFC 320 is Daniel Willycat Santos versus Ju Sang Yu. I mean, you got an undefeated prospect in Ju Sang Yu who's knocking literally everybody out. He's looking like the Korean Sean O'Malley, the Korean Malcolm Wellmaker. It's like if this guy comes out here and knocks out Santos, he's going to get that fast track right to the top. And on the other side with Santos, he might not look like the most intimidating guy in the world, but you start to sleep on a guy like Daniel Willycat Santos, he's going to go out there, throw 200 strikes, attempt 16 takedowns, and basically he's going to drop you in the center of the ocean, throw you a floaty, and you still might drown. So this fight should be absolute chaos. So for that reason, Daniel Willycat Santos versus Ju Sang Yu is my fight to watch. So now the question is, who is my fighter to watch at UFC 320? And actually, my friends, it's someone that's on the cusp of greatness, and that is the bantamweight champion, Merab Dvalishvili. He has a chance to come out here, quote unquote, tie the record for most bantamweight title defenses. I mean, between you and me, he'll hold that record by himself. We explained that earlier, but this guy has the chance to achieve all-time greatness that we haven't seen since Dominic Cruz. We haven't seen since TJ Dillashaw. For being such a dominant champion, he's a very active champion too. I feel like he's fighting every few months and he's adamant about this title reign. He's not a guy who won the belt and now he wants to take 6 months off and go parade that belt and party and do. No, this guy wants to get back in there and fight the best fighters of his era. And that's exactly what he's doing. And that's how and why he's cleaning out the bantamweight division. And most importantly, why he's my fighter to watch on Saturday night at UFC 320. Well, my friends, we did it. It's going down this Saturday night live at the T-Mobile Arena. Y'all, hit that subscribe button. Once I get to 10K subscribers, I'm giving out some free signed Malcolm Wellmaker merch. Smash the like button, leave me a comment. I appreciate y'all support on my Contender Series videos and my UFC videos. Also, big announcement. I want to let y'all know that I'm going to be an uncle because my brother, Meticulous, is having his first baby. So shout out to my brother, Meticulous. I'm a proud uncle and everything you've contributed to the show. Look at these fucking graphics, man. Look at the highlight reel packs on Dana White's Contender Series. Look at these thumbnails. Look at these lights behind me. I mean, come on, man. Actually, I got to say, this is Meticulous's second son because his first son is half the battle. So, man, I'm a proud unc. Love you, bro. And to the fans, make sure y'all show Meticulous some love in the comments. And also hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share if you feel so inclined. I'm going to be back on Tuesday for week 9 of Contender Series, and then back Wednesday for the next UFC card. Y'all know where to follow me. Half the Battle podcast on TikTok. I'm also on all the audio platforms, the Spotifys, the iTunes, etc., etc., etc. So Best Fight Picks on Twitter. Y'all know where to find me. And until the next time, let's cash these bets.